Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, friends and family. Don't know, it's your boy Darren. Coming to you again with another episode of the worst relationship advice ever. You definitely should not listen because you don't know, it's very rubbish me a chat. And this episode is going to be the final one of the season. Taking a bit of a break, just to, rest, recoup, get some new ideas for the future episodes to come. And in this episode, I'm talking to a couple of you, my viewers, just getting feedback and also getting your perspective on what you believe are the 5 main ingredients for a happy and healthy relational foundation, right? And so in this video, you'll be seeing the feedback given by a couple of my friends with regards to what they believe are the 5 main ingredients. And then in between, I'll be sharing my feedback, my perspective, my understanding of what it is that they're trying to say. So I hope this is enlightening for all of you, and let's get into it. All right. First, we have Miss Elizabeth Dunlop, good friend of mine over the years now, and she'll be sharing her perspective on the 5 main ingredients for a happy and healthy relational foundation.
Hey Darren, hey viewers. Okay, hey Darren, great question. So 5 things that I believe will make for a healthy and stable relationship, and in this instance we are referring to a relationship that will be taken to the level of marriage one day. First of all is a relationship with Jesus. You have to have the Holy Spirit. You have to be led in His will. You have to be cognizant of your identity in Him, because that is very important for a relationship. Why? That is because God made marriage and He knows how it's supposed to work. So in order to have it work well, you have to be in relationship with Him. Second, I would say, is healing and wholeness. 2 broken people don't make a good marriage. 2 broken people don't make a good friendship. 2 broken people don't make anything good. You have to be healed and whole. You have to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like. You have to be healed of your past traumas and issues from childhood. That is very important, so that when the right person comes along, you can love them well, you can be emotionally safe, emotionally available. That makes for a good relationship. The third thing I would say is commitment. You have to be committed to your spouse, because after the wedding, after the honeymoon, it's not emotions all the time that's going to sustain a relationship. It is going to be commitment. When you don't like them anymore, when they do things that get on your nerves, when they do certain things that offend you over and over again, it is very important to be committed to that person. Even when things are not going well, it is commitment to the vows you made on your wedding day that is going to sustain you throughout that marriage and keep that relationship strong, so that it's not just every relationship you get into you walk away because you can't be committed, and one flaw, you see one flaw in that person and then you say, oh okay, I'm gonna hit the high road. No, it's not like that. You choose somebody you love, it's in God's will for you to be with that person. You will stay committed to them. That's very important. The fourth thing I would say is forgiveness, because we're all going to offend each other in our relationships. We're not perfect persons. We are made and formed in the image of sin when we were born. Of course, we're renewed, but we still have that sin nature in us. And so, we're going to offend each other. We're going to get on each other's nerves. Some offenses will be minor. Some offenses will be not so minor. And in relationships, if you're going to stay together, you have to practice forgiving each other as Christ forgave you. And then the 5th and final thing I would say is friendship. You have to be friends with the person you are with. Friendship is the foundation of any other relationship that we have in life. When you're friends with someone, you know them, you know what they like, you know what they don't like. Hopefully you will have, similar interests, similar hobbies, where that can, bond you together emotionally, spiritually. And from that will flow, the emotional love and romance and all that we love in relationships. So yeah, those are my 5 things: a relationship with God, healing, commitment, forgiveness, and friendship. Thanks.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your feedback. And I agree with you. I agree with you what you have said, right? So, of course, about 3 of the things you said come from what I was saying. My 5 are, let's go over them again. Unwavering commitment, unconditional love, friendship, intimacy, and Jesus Christ. And so, Elizabeth, you said that, of course, Jesus needs to be at the center of it all. You said healing, that 2 people need to be healed and whole in order to have a happy and healthy relationship. Commitment, forgiveness, and friendship. All right. And out of those, I would say they match my 5 as well. In terms of Jesus being a part of the foundation, commitment being a part of the foundation, and friendship definitely being a part of the foundation. Just to comment on your point about healing, I tell you, that's such a deep point, because emotional healing doesn't look the same as physical healing, right? When you get a physical wound, it's there. You can see it. It hurts. You know exactly what is wrong, and you need to clean it up, dress it, put a band-aid on it, and give it some time, and it will heal itself over time. And when it is not healed, it hurts, right? When it is healed, it doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't affect how you move. You cannot move around freely. You cannot move around freely without it, causing you any pain. And so it's very easy to identify when you are physically healed. However, emotional healing is a more subjective thing. And you can have people who are in relationships who think to themselves that they are healed, but then to the other person who is being offended by something that they may say or do, to that person, this person is not healed and needs to go to counseling, And when we go to counseling to get healed emotionally, is this healing for us or is it for the other person? Is there a difference? Can I be healed of my emotional traumas and be able to walk out my life in a healthy manner as a single person? And does that look different from being emotionally healed and walking on my life healthily with a person who I'm in relationship with? When this other person over here has their own perceptions of me, their own ideals of what is right and what is wrong, their own traumas that may be triggered by something that I say or do that could cause them to feel as if I need healing when I've done the healing work on myself, for myself. And so there are levels to this emotional healing thing of being a person. I believe there are a lot of people who enter into relationships who have traumas that do need healing, but they're able to walk through the relationship and actually garner that healing during the relationship. That they didn't actually need to go to counseling to sort that out. Because if you think about what counseling is all about, it's all about an individual talking to another individual and that other individual giving them a listening ear, right? Probably asking a couple probing questions, probably guiding the conversation down a certain path for the person, for the client or the customer to really do the healing work on themselves. Yeah, the best of counselors out there guide their clients. They don't necessarily tell their clients what to do and what healing for them ought to look like and how they ought to behave, but rather what is it that this individual wants out of life for themselves, and what is it in them that is keeping them from the type of life that they want. And that's what emotional healing is all about in a nutshell. And so when it comes down to two different individuals coming together in a relationship as whole and happy people. That is very important. But it comes out to both of them doing it together. Couples counseling is very much different from individual counseling, and it will still require, even for two people who are happy and whole and coming together, it will still require couples counseling for them to really get that oneness, because they're two different individuals. But yeah, Elizabeth, I still agree with your point. Another point you made was about forgiveness, and you're so right. Forgiveness is so important because it's so easy to offend people. The other day, I offended somebody by telling them that I am exhausted and that I am overwhelmed. It's so easy to offend another person, even when you really don't intend to. And so, being able to forgive quickly and being able to, monitor our own emotions where offense is concerned and where forgiveness is concerned is essential to the longevity of a relationship. So yeah, Elizabeth, big up yourself. Thank you so much for your feedback. So this next video is actually, I was at my office. I decided to interview a couple people. So next we have Anneke Hines, who is one of the administrative team members at my office. And I asked her the same questions. Let's look at her response.
Hi.
Hey, Anneke.
Hi. Alright, for me, I believe that God must be number one. You must have a foundation on God. And everything else can be added. So for me, my 5 would say God, trust, respect, love, and most of all important, if we're married, we have to have a lot of sex. Sex is important.
Amen.
So that's just what I believe, and sex is good because God created it. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I believe. So those are my 5 ingredients
for a strong and healthy marriage.
Right.
Amen. All right, thank you, Anneke. Big up yourself.
Peace.
Yeah, folks. So Anneke says her 5 foundational ingredients are God, love, trust, respect, and lots of sex. So as a part of, I would like to make reference to my 5. She said God, so I said Jesus, God. Jesus is God, so yeah. She said trust, right? And trust is a part of intimacy. So when you hear me speak about intimacy, intimacy cannot stand without trust, right? And it is being intimate with your partner that builds trust, right? And trust upholds intimacy. So you could say that, me and Anneke are on the same page there. She says love, right? And I say unconditional love. So I put the unconditional on it, because truth be told, if you make breakfast for your wife, that is an act of love. However, if you make breakfast for your wife anticipating that she is going to take you to the barber right after, and she doesn't do so, then you might find yourself disappointed and heartbroken by the fact that she didn't take it to the barber, right? And so and that will cause offense, and the offense will spiral over into other negative attitudes and behaviors. And so that is why I say unconditional love. But Anneke says love, and I guess you can say we're on the same page there. She also says respect, right? Respect. And I would say that is also a part of intimacy and friendship. You want to respect your partner respect you. That's definitely important. And so you could say that Anneke is saying similar things to me on just different words. And then she says she puts an emphasis on sex. And I have to agree with her. Sex is so important when it comes on to a marriage, especially building a happy and healthy marriage over a long period of time. Sex is that thing that helps with the reconciliation process. But when you're in a relationship and things start to get dry, things start to get hard, because of the resentment that builds up. And so probably used to have sex frequently one time, but because the emotions in the relationship become strained, having sex less frequently, both of you can now feel the drift. The drift is happening between the two of you when you're not having sex on a regular basis. And so you have couples out there who have to intentionally schedule sex. It's not that they're offended with each other. It's not that they don't want to have sex with each other, but they may become very busy with life, especially if they have careers and they have children to deal with and they have aging parents to deal with. Fitting sex within the equation can be very difficult, and so many couples have to be intentional about ensuring that sex happens. Sometimes there can be differences in libido. There can be differences in understanding of just how important sex is. So you can have one person who says that sex is the foundation, while the other person is saying that, sex is just a trivial thing, it's not that big of a deal. That can definitely cause a problem. And so whatever you choose to be your 5 foundational ingredients for a happy and healthy relationship, you want to ensure that your partner feels the same way, that they do value the same things that you value. Because I tell you, man, when somebody values trust and the other person doesn't, or somebody values unconditional love and the other person doesn't, somebody values sex and the other person doesn't, then you'll definitely have a lot more conflict. You'll definitely be harder to maintain the relationship long term. So yeah, big up yourself, Anike. Thank you so much for your response. All right, up next, guys, we have Abigail Bryan, who is another advisor like myself, works with me at my office, and she's going to be giving her feedback on the 5 foundational ingredients.
Hi guys, so to get straight into it, my 5 ingredients that are a must. I don't even have to think too hard about it. The first and foremost, trust. Trust is a must. Without trust, it can't work. 2, I think the general core values of what each of you stand for. So you might not have the same personality, but you must have the same values. So that can be a guiding principle for how the relationship is shaped, right? So have trust, you must have the same core values. Another major ingredient that I think sometimes we forget is you must actually like the person's personality. A lot of times we may be into somebody because they have the attributes, like, okay, they're in a good profession, they're this, they're that, but to the core, do you even really like the person? Do you love them? But do you like them? Would you want to sit in a room with this person for years and years to come because you just like them as a person? So it might sound stupid, but when you check it, a lot of persons don't like their partners. They may love them, but that deep, like, I like them. That was 3. 4th, I think another basic thing is good communication. And I don't mean communication it's 2, communication and comprehension. You must be with somebody who they understand how you communicate. They're comprehending what you're saying, they're processing what you're saying, and you can resolve issues quickly that way. If you don't have that, if you don't have somebody who you understand how they communicate and you understand how they comprehend and how they process information, it's not gonna work. How much reach, Darren?
4.
Right. And my 5th one, I'll say attraction. You must have some physical attraction to this person. You must like how the person look. You must just enjoy when you see the person. Them lights up the room for you. I think those are my 5 key things. And if you ask me, they're no-brainers. If you follow my advice, guys, if you follow my 5 recipes, you're married and done. You're going to have a relationship for 50 years.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Abby. Big up yourself. All right, thank you so much, Abigail, for your feedback. Really do appreciate it. And you said that we should have trust, right? and we should like the person, right? And we should be attracted to the person, and we should have common core values. The values should be the same, and we should have good communication. As those are your 5. And yeah, I can agree with you on some of those points. Trust, as I said, would be like a part of that intimacy building process. And it comes on to good communication. Boy, I tell you, that's a major point right there. That, a lot of us, we learn English language at school. But just because we learned English language at school, that doesn't make us automatically good communicators. And sometimes we forget that communication is not just about being able to speak, it's also about being able to listen. Communication is a two-way street. And even listening is more complex than you think, because you can hear what a person is saying, but hearing a thing and responding how you feel is best to respond is different than hearing a thing and responding in a way that is best for the other person to be responded to. If I said that correctly. But, being able to come to an understanding of what your partner needs in a moment when they're trying to communicate with you, and for them also to understand what you need while you're trying to communicate with them. Whew. That is indeed a challenge, and it does take work. And so that's why you have couples out there who, they have been together for years and they put in so much work into the building of their relationship. When their partner passes away and they now find themselves single, some of them opt to just remain single. Or you have some people who have been in a relationship for many years and the relationship breaks down, and they opt to remain single because to put in the work, I get to relearn a whole new individual, relearn how to communicate with a person. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And so, I take your point, Abigail, that being able to communicate is so important. One thing that you did say that was interesting to me was attraction, of how you make that like a part of your relational foundation. And the two people have to be attracted to one another. I wouldn't say that I agree 100% with that point. I do believe that two people can grow to become attracted to each other over time if they are committed to one another. That's just my perspective. However, I do understand the importance of attraction and the role it plays in the sexual component of the relationship. Also, the role it plays in fortifying commitment, because it's like it's a no-brainer when that when your partner walks into a room, to you, they are the best. They are the baddest thing in the room. And they're the best looking person in the room. There's really nothing more valuable than that from a physical standpoint. So yeah, I would say that's a good point, Abigail, where attraction is concerned. Liking the person is another thing you said, of how it's interesting how you can love a person but not like them. It's like, I love my brother, but boy, I don't really like his personality. I really couldn't sit and have a conversation with this person for 4 hours. Because they just get on my nerves. They're just so annoying. And I tell you, you can grow to like a person over time. As they change, as you change, that's something that can change over time, as long as the two people are intentional and they have that commitment. All right, so up next, we have Mrs. Lizette Crooks. I was trying to get her husband to be a part of the video too, but he was a bit camera shy. But we still got some good feedback from Mrs. Crooks on what she believes are the 5 foundational ingredients for a happy and healthy relationship. Let's hear from her.
Right. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here with you. Now, for me as a person of faith, I must say having God at the center of your relationship, you can't go wrong there. And then I will go on to say good communication. not just speaking but comprehending and responding well, and doing that not just today but every day, right? And then for me, I would say mutual respect. We have to respect each and everyone, right? So not just me respecting you, but you need to respect me as well. And for the fourth one, I would say compromise. We have to compromise in order to meet each other's needs. And finally, honesty. We need to be honest about where we are, what we're going through, and the things that we're experiencing, because sometimes we're not mind readers, and unless you are honest about what you're going through, the other person is not able to help you.
Yep, that's a wrap.
All right, Mrs. Crooks, thank you so much for your feedback. So, she said that God is very important, and I said the same thing. She also said that communication is very important, being able to communicate with one another. Yeah, I don't know, Abigail, she said the same thing. Communication is very key. She also said compromise, being willing to meet the other person halfway. I tell you, that one is so important. And this is coming from a married woman now, so we must really, take it into consideration. Now, sometimes, we can feel like, things should always go our way. Like, I am right and I'm always right and you're always wrong. And I tell you, when you have that type of attitude in a relationship, it can definitely cause a lot of friction. So, yeah, Mrs. Crooks, compromise is very important, and that, spills over into respect. You said that respect is also a key ingredient, because I tell you, what you as a single person is different from you as a person who is married and in a committed relationship. As a single person, like Paul says it in Corinthians 7, as a single person, you don't have to worry about nobody else. You can just get up and fly to Timbuktu. You can just get up and go on a mission trip to Haiti. You don't have to answer to anybody else. But once you're married, you now have to be concerned about making your partner happy and pleasing your partner. And so you can't just up and do what you want to do. You can't just get up and go on the girls' night out. And you can't just get up and spend all your time with the boys. You have to have respect for your partner. So yes, Mrs. Crooks, I agree with you there. You also said that trust is another thing that is necessary, and yes, that has been a recurring statement throughout all the videos. All the people I've interviewed have said that trust is very important, and again I say trust is an important and integral aspect of intimacy. So yeah, man, Mrs. Crooks, thanks again so much for your feedback. We have been an awesome client thus far. All right, so next we have the Beatles, Ryan and Charmian Beadle, two great friends of mine. Actually, Ryan is the guy behind the camera for this podcast, and there has definitely been a huge support in my life. They got married like a week before I got married, so if I was still married, it would pretty much be around the same time having our anniversaries. So I asked them the same questions, what are their 5 foundational ingredients? And boy, their responses are pretty deep. Brian, Charmian, let's hear what you guys have to say.
Hey guys, so as Darren said, we're the Beatles. I'm Brian, and this is my wife, Charmian.
Hi.
Darren asked us about what are our 5 things, foundations for a relationship.
We said we don't.
Alright, yeah, we can read it.
Yeah, we had to write this down because we really discussed it and we're like what really, what is it that we really believe will get you forward in a marriage,
Yeah.
So we said Jesus, number 1. Yeah.
Jesus.
Then intimacy.
That's right.
Commitment, grace for elasticity, and friendship. All right.
Yeah. Goes without a doubt. Jesus at the first, he is the end, Alpha and Omega. You understand? So he is the real foundation, like the starting foundation. Without him, we are nothing. And I say that to say, especially like, we need him more than even we may need each other. Because especially when we're going through moments where we may not feel like we can talk to each other, we may not feel like we can communicate with each other as best as possible. You know, Jesus helps us when we reach out to Jesus, when we talk to him, when we have that relationship with him personally, we are able to, you know, he's able to guide us through the Holy Spirit and to come back together, to talk, to have an understanding, to reason, to see things differently than what we may have seen when we were arguing or something was not, there was just misunderstandings or stuff like that, you know?
And so that moves into intimacy, recognizing that intimacy is actually not just in the bedroom, but actually like journeying together, caring about each other in the very interesting moments, picking up certain patterns about your partner that, you know, they might not necessarily expect you to pick up. And, you know, it will cause them to feel seen and heard and cared for. And that will inspire them to indeed actually show more emotion or show outward affection and stuff like that.
And then we have commitment, you know, commitment. We have to commit, you know, you have to commit to the whole thing. You know, it's not all sunshine and daisies every day. And therefore, what helps with that is me knowing that I'm committed to the relationship. I'm committed to making it work. I'm committed to my partner. I'm committed no matter what happens, no matter who comes to me, no matter what thoughts I have, I am committed to making this thing work. And the truth is, especially going through even the starting stages of your marriage, the early stages of your marriage, you have to hold on to that commitment so much because it's two people coming together, two whole people coming together who have two different set of backgrounds, two different set of life experiences, and they've decided that, hey, I choose you, you choose me, and we're gonna live together, we're gonna be with each other, we're gonna work on finding out what makes our home, what makes us, and what makes what is it that we want to make our family to become, you understand? So commitment is necessary, so necessary to go through, you know, especially those early stages, but even more so to go through long term, holding on to each other and what, you know, our marriage is all about.
Yeah. And so interestingly, I find that these actually flow into each other. Interestingly, the next thing is graceful elasticity. So you know, first you have Jesus, then you have the intimacy, then you have the commitment, you know, where you're pushing through no matter what. And then you have to have grace in the midst of all of that. Yeah. You have to have grace for elasticity in the sense of elasticity means growth or facilitates growth. And growth is messy, you know, lives, right? And so, you know, you never necessarily know what's coming at you and stuff like that. So you never know how your partner is going to react to a specific season. You never know, you know, what they're going to evolve, you know, and move towards and stuff like that. And so you have to, as their partner, you know, be willing to extend that level of grace to allow them to truly grow into what the Lord has, you know, purposed them to be, or who the Lord has purposed them to be. And, you know, so saying that to say that grace is especially important, especially, you know, because we are all imperfect beings. We're all prone to making mistakes and, you know, slowing down and speeding up. I'm saying the nuances of life and therefore the nuances of marriage.
I want to touch on the elasticity part because as you were speaking, I just thought of, and I hope the farmers and the planters may agree. I just thought of plants. I thought of a tree. And imagine having a certain type of tree growing in, maybe you started to grow it in a pot. Right. You know, as it continued to grow and you're nurturing it as it grows, you're realizing, well, the roots are growing no more. This pot can't sustain the growth of this tree, the growth of this thing. So therefore, I'm gonna have to take out this pot and put it in a part, possibly a
wider vessel.
A wider vessel, or in a more larger environment for its roots to get deeper as it gets wider and bigger. You understand? So we have to think about that even in our marriages. Like, it's, you know, my wife will get pregnant. My wife will change careers. My wife will move from wanting to liking one thing to our next. And even in that, as she grows and learns and understands certain things for herself, I have to be willing to have grace for that, to allow her to flourish, to blossom, to bloom. And the same for me, you know, the different things that we would have learned about each other from before, may I either change or have our mindsets like, no, but I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this anymore. I want to do bigger, better than this, or what have you.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have to allow each other to just have that space and that grace with that pace
Hey, that's right.
to be able to, you know, grow. And the last one,
I want to jump in on this one first. So this is friendship, you know, and I mean, we had an interesting story, but we're not gonna get into that right now in terms of how we came together. But literally, because we met each other at a specific point and we got together fairly quickly, there was not much time to build a friendship per se, you know, like a deep-rooted friendship of like 7 years or 10 years or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And so we had to actually get down and dirty and do that literally after marriage. We recognized very quickly that it can't just be about, you know, say or expecting that, okay, sex will happen one day, or, you know, I'll want to partner with you all the time or whatever. There has to be like that foundation for conversation, that foundation that allows for mutual interest to flourish, that foundation that allows us to really check like whether or not we really want to be in each other's space, and, you know, journey through life together, like in and being able to interact in a way that doesn't feel forced and in a way that feels very authentic. So friendship, we definitely recognize
friendship
that.
is it's so big because you definitely have to like the person. Like for me, like we know it's about all the love, the romanticism, the everything, and she's sexy, he's nice, whatever, and what she dress and what she do that. Oh my gosh! But at the end of the day, and at the end of all that, I still have to be able to like can sit in the couch beside her and watch something, and she's not like, oh, you like that? I don't like you.
Right.
You know, we still have to be able to like, can we have a conversation? Can we be casual? Can we sit in each other's with, or do we always have to be like, oh, does it always have to be lovey-dovey or whatever? Or can it be goofy? Can it be make sense? Can we have some in conversations that, you know, friends would have that may not be maybe some very serious conversations, or maybe just some stupid thing or some out of mind kind of vibe. It doesn't like it comes to that place of knowing that there's commonality between us and likability and what have you, because there are relationships that the partners don't like each other. You know, they may have the commitment and they're sticking it out, maybe even sticking it out for the children, but at the same time it's like, I really don't like being in your space, and every moment I get not to be in your space, I'll take it because you know. So those are our five. And we will it makes sense.
And I mean, if you have, you know, five just like this, or if you agree or disagree on whatever, feel free to drop a comment below. We are putting in a plug for you, Darren.
yes, please comment and like and share and subscribe.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
All
right, cool. Thank you so much, Brad and Charmian Beadle. So, guys, they said that Jesus is very important. Intimacy is also very important. Commitment, grace for elasticity, yes, wow, and friendship are their 5 important ingredients. And hey, I agree with you guys 100%. Because you don't know, commitment, intimacy, friendship, Jesus are like 4 of my 5. And then the grace for elasticity part, that is so deep right there. But of course, they must know what I'm talking about because they are married to one another. And so, if you think about what the other videos have been saying about communication and compromise, my understanding of elasticity is being able to stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone and beyond your norms in order to facilitate the change of your person. Because as you go through life, seasons, we change as we learn new things, as we take on a new job, as we take on new roles as parents. we will have to stretch, we will have to grow. And that can be painful, that can be frustrating, but we have to understand that this is just a part of life. We cannot necessarily take out our frustration on our partner. We can't necessarily punish them for the changes that they are making in themselves and in life, and so that elasticity point is so deep. Build up yourselves. Sharon and Darren, thank you so much for your feedback. Alright, and so that's it for the Vox Pop episode of the Worst Relationship Advice Ever. I really hope that you guys, learned something new. I hope it was enlightening. Did you agree with any of the points that were shared? Do you have any points that you would like to share? Definitely leave it in the comment section down below. We can definitely have some more discussion about it. We are all here to grow and get to deeper levels of understanding of ourselves, understanding of how relationships work, and what we need as individuals to show up in the best way possible for our partner and for our partner for us. Yeah, we're taking a break, as I said before, for the Worst Relationship Advice Ever. And so, if you missed any of the previous episodes, you should definitely go back and watch from episode 1, come straight up to this episode, and you may just learn something new. Definitely subscribe, so that when the next video comes out, you'll be able to see it. Enough love and respect to all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.